Many thanks for your time here on News Today to our very first story. And hip live artist Wiser is to face prosecution in the coming days for showing his genitals on stage during a live performance over the weekend. Now, Wiser stand patrons at City FM's December to Remember annual musical concert when he unzipped his pants and released his manhood on stage and rubbed it behind a female dancer. Now, he has since apologized for the act at the AICC over the weekend, but police say he will still be prosecuted for the misdemeanor. ASP Fiatenge is Public Relations Officer of the Greater Accra Police Command.
The level of gross indecency is all left for the court to decide on. What we found was one that amounts to crime. Anything that we see that is out or is a deviation from the social order or social expectation amounts to this kind of gross indecency. And we have gotten our evidence, and we are going to prosecute him accordingly. But as to the term or the fine or the kind of punishment that will be meted out to him, that is the preserve of the court, and I do not have any jurisdiction over that. What the person did or what he did, we find that out of the social norm. It is totally out of order, provided the person is in his right senses and all his faculties are working. What he did was out of the norm, and it is specifically spelled out in our Criminal and Other Offences Act. To expose your private parts in public is something that, in fact, he has gone overboard, and once the police have the jurisdiction over it, once we know who did that, and the courts are there, it is for us to ensure that we all live within certain periphery or certain expectations as far as our moral rights are concerned. That immorality is something that cannot be accepted in our society. So at least we have found that what they did amounts to crime, and we are prosecuting him. And when we go to the court, whatever the court decides, the court decides on, I believe it is something for all of us to learn from. If the court decides to leave him, fine, we have done our bit. But it is something we have to do to ensure that we all live as, to the tenets of social norms and expectations.
So the police is bent on taking him to court. When should we expect this thing to happen?
Oh, we all know we are on holiday. The courts are not sitting. So as soon as the court sits and we have enough evidence for prosecution, why not? We shall do so.
Well, my colleague Felix Akoyam is live at the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, and he joins us over the telephone lines now with an update on this particular situation. Felix, we are told this artist has officially been charged. What exactly is he being charged for?
Well, Chenchene, I have been speaking with his manager and Wiser himself. I'm still yet to speak to the police. But what I am picking is that he's been charged with indecent exposure and sexual assault for the incident that happened at December to Remember last Saturday.
Interesting. So exactly when is he supposed to be put before court?
We don't know yet, but from what I've gathered so far, I think it should be within this week. And
okay.
The artist himself, appeared very remorseful when I interacted with him a couple of minutes ago. He's still very apologetic. He says that Ghanaians should forgive him for what happened. In fact, he can't explain what happened and what happened to him. All he knows is that he's done something wrong, and he's prepared to take responsibility for what he did.
Well, so what some are suggesting, we're reading in some aspects of the media that indeed he was actually drunk at the time. Has he commented on this particular issue?
Not at all. He says nothing of such happened. He says he can't just explain what came over him, and for him it's perhaps the excitement that came with seeing the crowd. It was his first time performing in front of such a huge audience, so he was perhaps taken away by what he saw. And so for him, I mean, he's dismissing those claims and he's saying that people should just forgive him. And I mean, indeed, I asked him whether or not he thinks he should be rewarded in spite of all that has happened. And he says that he doesn't really know whether, I mean, if his song is going to pick any award, whether, I mean, that award should be given to him or not.
Okay, quite interesting there. But as we speak now, is Wiser still in police custody or he's out, free and...
He's out. He just left the premises here with his wife and his management team. And I mean, I've also been speaking with some members of his management team, and they are equally very much devastated, I mean, by what happened. And indeed, one of the guys I spoke to was the DJ who, was playing the song, the beat for him on that day. And he said, I mean, he was taken by surprise. He didn't even understand what came over Wiser because he's not that type of person. I mean, he's a dedicated Christian, at least that's what they tell me.
Right.
But so they were all surprised, I mean, at the turn of events. And they are hoping to try and, revive the Wiser brand. And they also think that if indeed, I mean, his brand can be revived, or, I mean, his tattered image can be, repaired. It all depends on him as a person.
Okay. Right. Many thanks for that update. And that was my colleague Felix Akoyam joining us live from the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, from where that particular artist, Wiser, we are told, has just left the place. And officially, he has been charged with 2 counts, actually, that's indecent exposure and sexual assault. To bring you much more on this subsequently. But away from that particular story, and the Aflao Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Service has intercepted the transfer of ammunition into the country by some unknown persons from Togo. Now, the unidentified persons were arrested at Poglo barrier in Aflao on Sunday when their truck with Nigerian plates was intercepted by the revenue authorities. Fred Kwame Asare joins us on phone now with more on this particular story. So, Fred, tell us much more about this particular incident. How did this whole thing happen in the first place?
Okay, at about 2 p.m. on Sunday, 2 officers at the Poglo Customs barrier, that is in the Ketu South municipality, is located between Denu and Joje, spotted a Nigerian registered truck with registration number KU44XD Lagos. The truck was heading from Aflao towards Joje. So the officers stopped the vehicle. The officers on duty were Richard Lochu and then Daniel. Then so they stopped the vehicle and then tried to interrogate the driver and then 2 other passengers. So upon interrogations, the officers became suspicious, realizing that the driver drove the vehicle all the way from Togo to Ghana, an empty truck. That is, there was nothing in the truck. So they decided to carry on some checks on the truck. And then while they were doing that, they realized that there was a false compartment beneath the truck. So they decided to force open it. So one of the officers went into town to go and then bring a welder. But while the other officer was on the truck trying to force open the false compartment, the driver and then his other 2 accomplices fled the scene. So the other compartment, or the other officer came back and then they forced open the false compartment. And then beneath, or what was contained in the false compartment, were shotgun cartridges. A large amount of them were contained in the false compartment. So
do we know where exactly this truck was headed?
No, that we don't know yet. But then since the driver and then his 2 accomplices fled, the officers here, that is the SEPS officers, told me investigations are underway to verify where they are heading. But then a TVU on the vehicle indicated that the vehicle was in the country or was in Ghana since 24th December 2015.
Many thanks for that update, Fred Kwame Asare. We'll come back to you for some more. And that was our correspondent from the Volta region, Fred Kwame Asare, bringing us that live updates there. And the situation there is that a truckload of ammunition has actually been intercepted by revenue authorities at Poglo. You're still watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. You're taking a break. We'll be back shortly with some more. Thanks for staying with us here on News Today. Now to some more stories. And Vice President Kwesi Emisa-Arthur says government will back its promise with action by supporting indigenous technological advancements as part of efforts to sustain the economy. Now, the Vice President made his comments at the 35th Christo Asafo Annual Technology Exhibition at Awoshi here in Accra, where he commended the giant strides made so far by Kantanka Technologies.
Celebrating, as the chairman said, an entrepreneur, a farmer, a missionary, and many other things. I think he called him multi-talented. We are celebrating the life of this multi-talented person. I have seen the items on display, the development of the internal combustion engine and the vehicle that has come out as a result of the work of Apostle Kojo Safo. We know also that countries develop by doing things better because resources available to countries are finite. And as the populations increase, we must be more efficient in the use of the natural resources that are available to us. That is why it is such a great thing to have an innovator, a scientist, a technology person doing all the work that we have seen here today. Innovation and technology are important in the development of countries. And when we hear the names of the people who have done great innovations in this world, the electric light bulb, in the telephone, the bell, in the computer, the personal computer, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, in the motor vehicle, Henry Ford, we are looking at individuals who changed history. We are looking at individuals all over the world whose vision and whose work, whose application technology changed the world. And we are seeing in Ghana that we also have somebody who is changing the world in our country. So we are here to celebrate the work of this visionary person. And as he asked us in the opening remarks, in his welcome address, Apostle, we don't just want to say that we will support this. You will see by our actions that we will support the work that you're doing. The Minister of Environment was here earlier this week, or last week, to promise that we will support this. The government of the Republic of Ghana will support your work, and I'm here to reiterate and emphasize that that support will be provided so that we'll be able to develop to a much higher level the work that you have started here.
Now, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Dankwa-Akufo-Addo, says his New Year resolution is to win the 2016 election and become President of the Republic. Nana Addo, who spoke to Joy News' Latif Idris, said he has the solutions to the country's ailing economy and lack of opportunity for the teeming unemployed youth in the country. Now, he said this after a Thanksgiving service at the Resurrection Power and New Generation Church, Akaswa, over the weekend.
Nana Addo arrived at the church premises at around 12 p.m. to a rapturous cheers by worshippers. Nana was accompanied by the acting general secretary of the party, John Boedu, the chairman of the New Patriotic Party's Council of Elders, C.K. Tedem, Sheikh I.C. Kwe, and some members of parliament and parliamentary candidates of the party. Nana Addo, who spoke exclusively to Joy News in an interview after the church service, said he attended the service to give thanks to God even after chaotic events in the NPP.
We came here on a simple mission. First of all, Christmas tidings, to share them with the congregation here. It's a very favorite priest of mine. I've been here. And then secondly also, to use the occasion to thank God for bringing us through this difficult year that our party has had. And to thank God that it has ended the year well, as we showed in Sunyani. So basically, that's the purpose of my being here.
What's your New Year resolution? 2016, going into 2016, what's your resolution?
To win the election of 2016 and give Ghana the government it deserves. A government that will deal with the problems facing the people of Ghana, problems of employment, jobs for the youth, how to sustain our economy, grow our economy, bring prosperity to the ordinary man of people of Ghana. That's the New Year resolution.
I'm sure you don't want to go into 2016 with, load shedding or doom. So, are you sure by 2016 that challenge will be resolved?
We are waiting to see. It's not me who will resolve it. You know the people who can resolve it. Thank you so much for speaking to me.
Winning the 2016 elections, according to Nanado, will give him the chance to put the economy back on track.
And indeed, 2016 promises to be an interesting one. But let's still stay with politics. And presidential aspirants of the Convention People's Party will be required to make a contribution of 50,000 Ghana cedis as the CPP makes strenuous efforts from being prevented from participating in next year's general elections. Now, Kwacha Frenioma of our political desk just returned from a press briefing by the party and joins me in studio now with more on this. But pretty interesting, it seems. But why exactly are these aspirants being asked to pay as much as 50,000 cedis?
Well, I'm sure that you remember that in July this year, we reported on a report by the Electoral Commission that said that political parties, including the PPP, the NDP, and the CPP, did not have the required number of offices, among other things, they don't have the required number of offices across the country, and therefore do not meet the Political Parties Act, the requirements of the Political Parties Act 2000. And this report branded them even as non-functional. Now, what that meant is that going into the 2016 election, they raised these political parties, including the CPP, raised having their licenses withdrawn, and what that again will mean is that they wouldn't be able to participate in the election at all. And what Professor Edmund Dele, chairman of the party, says is that this money is intended to be used to build offices across the country to meet up to the necessary requirement per the Political Parties Act. So that's what they intend doing exactly. But he says that this is not, he wouldn't, I asked him a question about whether this is compulsory or not. He says what he expects is that all members of the party who indeed want to become flag bearer ahead of the 2016 election would have to pay, because if indeed you want to occupy that sensitive position, you certainly will be a patriotic member of the party. So not compulsory, but they certainly expect all aspirants to make this.
But interesting, quite a number of names have popped up already. I mean, we've heard of Samia Nkrumah and co. But has anyone picked forms yet?
Well, as of the time I was leaving the party's headquarters, that was about 40 minutes ago, it was only Samia Nkrumah who had picked their forms. But the interesting thing is that she didn't pick it up herself. In fact, some youth within the party, within the CPP, say that they make contributions. And this was largely led by Ernesto Yeboah, the party's national youth organizer. Who says that he, for example, made a contribution of 1,000 Ghana cedis to meet up the 5,000 for picking up the forms. So subsequently, Samia will herself have to make the 50,000 contribution. But we know that, as you mentioned, other names have popped up. Dr. Abu Sakara is expected to pick up as well as Bright Akwete, lawyer Bright Akwete, to contest in this race. Which is the election proper will happen in January, 29th and 30th of January.
I see. Many thanks for that update, Kwacha Frenioma, and that was Kwacha Frenioma of our political desk, bringing us a lot more on that particular issue. And indeed, the CPP will be electing a flag bearer later in January, like he said. But away from the CPP, let's go to the PNC, where one-time flag bearer of the party, Hassan Ayaga, is allegedly lobbying executives of the party to defect and join him in his bid to set up a new political party. Now, Hassan Ayaga, who lost out on leading the PNC once more in the party's delegates congress some weeks ago, alleged he had been cheated in the process, hence his decision to form a new party. Now, reports suggest Mr. Ayaga is allegedly luring his targets with cars, motorbikes, and money. Now, how true is this? And who exactly are these persons being bribed? Atik Mohammed is General Secretary of the People's National Convention. Atik, good afternoon. Many thanks for your time. And how much of a problem will this be for the PNC should some core of your members decide to defect and join Mr. Hassan Ayariga?
Thank you very much and good afternoon. I think this is not a problem as in the full sense of the word problem, but what we are seeking to do is to alert our membership to this growing trend and that this happening is not to be tolerated. It is something that the party is taking seriously, not because it has a tendency of taking away our members, because we don't see that happening. But we are just taking advantage of the media to let our people know that anybody who comes in the name of whoever, asking the person or asking our executives to sign any documents for the formation of the new party, such a person or those people should not be tolerated for a moment. And we are also seeking to let them understand that the party is preparing itself to get, into the campaign in earnest, and that the task ahead of us is very difficult and it's very huge. So we have very little time for some of these distractions. So they should ignore, these things that are happening and begin to apply themselves to the task ahead.
So is it that you see this alleged move by Hassan Ayariga as a distraction? He just wants to distract the PNC?
Exactly so. That is what we see it to be. And we are also trying to tell them that anybody who decides to sign these documents will face a penalty. And the penalty, I'm sure the leadership will decide what form it will take subsequent to whatever the disciplinary committee decides. And we are saying that we are not going to tolerate anybody who decides to sign those documents. We are going to take the necessary action against that person so that they know what awaits them. We are just trying to let them know that there is a penalty. Some of them think that because these are former members of the party, it's okay. Some are yet to even understand that those coming around have renounced their membership of our party. So we are just alerting them that they are no longer members of our party. And what they are doing it on their own. The party has no hand in that. It is not a party-sanctioned activity. So they should disregard it. And we are also, by this, also seeking to issue some warning to whoever is behind this and those pursuing this, that it has come to our attention and we are not taking it lightly. If you want to form your party, you are liberty to do so. But do not predate on our members. It is not the PNC's executives that are going to form your party for you. Everybody is free to form any political party, but go and find your people, form your party. The PNC will not have any problem with that. But if our executives become your target, you keep harassing them because you go today, they sack you, the following day you are there. We are not going to accept it and we are not going to allow it.
So what are you likely to do to Hassan Ayariga should this actually be found out to be true? I mean, what really can you do to him?
And that is why we have issued the warning. We had a meeting, a leadership meeting on Saturday to discuss some issues, and this was one of the items. And what I have communicated is what is solved on. But if they fail to heed the warning we have given them, I'm sure the leadership will reconvene again and take a decision, because we will not allow anybody to cause any distraction in our fold, particularly so when the spirits of our people are higher this time around, to cause a change and to improve our electoral process.
One question that is on my mind, actually, is that nothing stops or prevents anyone from approaching any Ghanaian and selling to him or her his idea of a political party or getting the person to back his call or his idea of getting a political party. So why should this be a worry to the PNC? I mean, if someone chooses to approach members of the...
It's selling your message and asking people to come and join. It's harassing our leaders. These are not just ordinary members of the party. These are executives of the party.
And who are these executives you speak of?
Sorry?
Who are these executives you speak of?
I mean, I remember, in fact, I will just quickly mention some of the constituencies they've been to. The latest being Krowo constituency in Greater Accra. They've been to Akim Oda. They've been to Achiasi and some other constituencies around. They've also been to some constituencies in the Brown Ahafo. and at every turn, the people reject them. The matter at issue is not they going to make the move to our people. But when they reject them, they still go back, harassing them, promising them, and attempting to induce them, and so on. And we are saying that if you want to found a party, let people voluntarily come and join you. If the people are not willing, you do not harass them, and that is the point we are making.
Okay.
Why is he not doing that to MPP and NDC members? Why is he not doing that to floating members, floating voters, so to say? It means that there is a deliberate attempt to cause a distraction, and that is what we are going to resist, and that is the point we are making.
Many thanks for your time, Atiq Mohammed. And Atiq Mohammed is General Secretary of the People's National Convention, the PNC. He joined us over the telephone lines with some thoughts on that particular one. He says the PNC will resist any attempt by Mr. Hassan Ayariga to cause some sort of distraction in the party. You're still watching News Today here on Joy News. My name is Kwabena Chencheni Boating. We'll be back shortly with business. Okay, so it's time now for business, and here's Etonam Say with the very latest in business. Hi, Etonam.
Hello,
It's been a while since I saw you on News Today.
I know. I know. Can I handle my business?
Sure. What do we have in business?
All right, now, apparently Ghana has been ranked. We actually doing better than some other African countries when it comes to business confidence, which comes to me as a surprise anyway. But let's see. It's from Forbes, and so it's
quite credible. Right.
All right, now, on the Forbes 2015 ranking of 114 best countries for business in the world, Ghana ranks 79th and 8th in Africa. Ghana is ahead of countries like Senegal, Tunisia, Namibia, and Seychelles. Countries that Ghana is ahead of include Mozambique, Lesotho, Madagascar, Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire, which is ranked at 106th in the world and 17th in Africa. The countries ahead of Ghana are Mauritius, South Africa, Morocco, Botswana, Cape Verde, Rwanda, and Zambia. Forbes posts indicators like population, GDP growth rates, GDP per capita, and trade balance to GDP. Ghana's GDP growth is put at 4%. GDP per capita is $4,100. Trade balance to GDP is negative 10.4%, and the population is 26.3 million. At the bottom of the rankings is Chad, having a population of 11.6 million. Chad has a GDP growth of 6.9%, a GDP per capita of $2,600, and trade balance of GDP of negative 7.8%. The ranking covers 40 countries in Africa. Now, the launch of ADB's IPO follows approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission. The launch has been put on hold several times following a number of lawsuits filed against the bank for the move. The last suit that was filed against the launch of the offer was by Member of Parliament for New Jabin South, Mark Esibeyebua, but was later withdrawn. His lawyer, Alexander Penyomakin, who announced that at the Supreme Court in October 2016, said the decision to withdraw the case was due to assurances by management of ADB to engage Parliament to resolve the issue of contention. But the reason cited was vehemently denied by a lawyer for ADB, Tanilitha, who stated that his clients never held talks with the plaintiff. So it means all is set for the ADB IPO. So for those who want to buy shares, it's open, and I wish ADB all the luck. My name is Eton. I'm saying that's how we wrap up with today's edition of Business News for Midday. We can get details on myjoyonline.com. And this evening on Joy News Prime, we'll bring you other other news items on business. So please stay tuned.
So we have so much entertainment for you today on News Today, because Gladys Osero is back. And Gladys, I know there's been a lot going on this December. I really don't know how come, but people, there seem to be so many activities and people seem really to be enjoying this Christmas, really.
Exactly, because it is Christmas, a lot is happening. And of course, Wiser alone is a package, a complete package. Yeah. Of course, a kikimi, and it moves things.
A kikibo.
A kikibo. But no.
Anyway.
Yes,
so what do you have in the
Wiser has actually been telling us what exactly got him to, you know, give out that stagecraft.
Yeah.
I don't know how creative that, well, a kikimi. So it kicked him, he brought up that stagecraft.
I'm sure it was the lady, you know, there was a lady who was dancing and everything, and, you know.
But you see, you don't flee from temptation. You don't get closer to things you cannot control.
I think
and so you saw that one you couldn't control. You don't bring that on. But well, he still cannot explain exactly what made him put up that stagecraft. We actually have been talking to Wiser, and he's been telling us what exactly, well, he doesn't know what really made him do what he did on stage.
It was very bad. I don't like to talk about it too much because I feel bad when I'm talking about it. But I think I made a big mistake, and I feel ashamed, and I feel disappointed in myself. So what happened was very bad. I don't want to talk about it too much. Yeah.
I mean, for your fans and everyone too, it's difficult for people to really comprehend what happened on stage. What came over you?
I think it was too much of excitement and a very childish thing I did over there. I would just say sorry. My fans, Ghanaians and everybody should forgive me. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I already know that you are in the studio recording something of an apology to the public. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I already dropped that song last night already, so the song is already out. And I think people are accepting it bit by bit. Yeah.
What about those who say that what you did is unpardonable? I mean, you don't deserve to be forgiven.
I would just say they should try and forgive me and give me time. I'll prove to them and they will know I'm a better person. It will never happen again. So they should just forgive me. Even if they don't want to, they should try.
What damage do you think this has done to your personality, your image as a person and your whole brand?
I think that is a little bit serious though, and because everybody is saying a lot of bad things about me.
Well, so that is why, sir, he simply cannot still explain what really got him put up that stagecraft. But you and Wiser, who is taller?
I think I am.
You are? Okay, at least you are redeemed.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
I am. Definitely.
All right, so he still is trying to find his feet, but to think that he has a child and a wife.
Yeah, it's quite...
I don't know how his child would feel. I don't even want to worry about the wife. But
the child,
The child. But you see, the sad bit is that now the wife will be going and other men and women will be looking at her and be wondering, oh, is that what satisfies you? Well...
maybe it was stagecraft. Probably
maybe,
the real thing is
just
somewhere.
Maybe that was the problem.
Maybe the real thing is somewhere.
Yeah, that was the problem. Yeah. But of course, it's been very eventful. And guess what? The dead goat Wahala. The dead goat is still in the front seat.
KSM.
Efiasrebo. Not KSM, but Efiasrebo.
Okay, Efiasrebo.
Efiasrebo has been telling us more about what the dead goat in the front seat is up to.
Right.
Well, let's take a watch at Efiasrebo KSM doing his satirical comedy.
Go to the market and I buy 2 kilos of chicken, 2,000, and you put it all the way and you got 1.9%. So the inflation is actually going down.
I'm surprised when I see people watching the budget for 3 hours. Oh yeah, your budget, you know. We just watch it for the sake of it. I think when a Fiasco comes into power, we have a very realistic budget, you know. Never buy a thing, and I never buy a fool. End of discussion.
Well, so Efiasrebo for you. Make sure you vote for Efiasrebo. Come 2016, and you have a very wonderful, fantastic budget that will cater for every need. But you know, it's been very eventful, and as we wind down the year, there are a lot we would still want to bring our viewers. For instance, there was a Tema Fest organized by Adam that I would be telling you about tomorrow. And of course, we'll also tell you about a Rapaholic concert. Yes, and No Tribes concert, United Praise concert. The list goes on and on.
There were a lot of events.
You take a fever. There's too much. But of course, you can catch us at 4:45 on Let's Talk Entertainment. We'll bring you more of entertainment right there.
Right. Many thanks for that update. And that was Gladys Osero. I told you we have too much entertainment for you today on News Today. But that'll be it for entertainment, proudly brought to you by Airtel. And that'll be all for News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenchehini, watching. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Happy holiday.